Ashley, I mean, how closely does this Florida race, House 1, to you, does that matter much? I mean, now Gabe Vallimont, 57 votes ahead.
Look, I think that Florida, for a very long time, at least a decade at this point, Democrats have realized they probably are not going to win the state of Florida in presidentials and in many of in the governor's race and many of the House races as well. So the indicator was not a W in the column, an added seat in the House. The question was, the majority of those folks, many of those folks who move from, to your point, nope, none of those Trump voters who don't support Democrats now, I guarantee there's no way this race is so close, and particularly the other race with Fine and Wheel, that margin gets so close if some of those Trump voters didn't move over to Democrats. Now, you usually do, but numbers are numbers.
I disagree, and here's why. It's a turnout game. And this is a condition of the Republican Party that is true. We now have a party that's made up of lower propensity voters. They tend not to vote when Donald Trump's not on the ballot. They turn out at lower rates, especially when elections are happening at odd times. And this is an issue the party's going to have to grapple with. Democrats have these higher propensity voters who turn out for everything. And I think it creates a mirage of what you just said, that maybe people are switching. I don't think they're switching. I just think the highest propensity voters are turning out. Democrats have a few more of those right now. I mean, that having been said, my advice to House Republicans right now is eat healthy, get on your treadmill, try not to die if you live in a district that's any worse than either of these two between now and next November, or at least now in this summer when we got to pass a reconciliation bill, because it's thin margins. But the Republicans, I think, are going to hold this thin margin and hopefully hold it long enough to get Donald Trump's legislative agenda across the line.
That sounds like a diagnosis of someone who thinks you have some flipping voters.
And while I hate to agree with Scott this early in the evening, I think it's a bit of a myth. I kid. I think it's a bit of a myth that there's this significant buyer's remorse with Republicans who vote for Trump. The numbers do not pan that out. By and large, Republicans are on cloud nine. Now, in 6 months, if tariffs are still in effect and the cost of everything is through the roof, then you might see some movement ahead of the midterms. But it is way too soon to expect some massive movement by Republicans going away from Trump.
Like it was, talking about Liberation Day, this is Liberation Day for Republicans if they want to take it. They don't have to be scared of Elon Musk. They can actually do their constituents' biddings. And when he says, I'm going to come into your district, say, great, I'll win big, just like that judge up in Wisconsin.
Yeah, as Cory Booker said over and over again for over 24 hours, he said this is a moral moment. This is not about right or left, Democrat or Republican. This is about right and wrong. And Republicans know that, and they have been scared of Elon Musk. So it especially the ones who are from states. I mean, look at somebody like Dave McCormick. He won very narrowly in Pennsylvania. Is he really comfortable now going MAGA in Pennsylvania? I mean, these guys need to understand that there is real energy. There's frustration, there's anger, there's depression, there's disappointment, but under it all, there's real energy behind people in this country that don't like what's going on with the way we're treating our allies. They don't like what's going on. People are being deported without any due process. They don't like the idea that we're going to have escalating costs and our economy is going to be in the ditch because of the ego of this man around tariffs, which he clearly doesn't completely understand. There's a huge critical mass of people out there ready to act right now. And I think it's a big deal, and I think you're going to keep seeing it in special elections.
Flip side, the Republicans I talked to, it's kind of striking how it's the exact inverse. One Republican I talked to said, our goal tonight is to keep Democrats depressed. And to keep them from thinking that they actually can.
I mean, I think anger is the name of the game.
Here illegally.
I know you've been
and
trying
they're being
to get
released back onto the streets.
That's not gaslighting. That's a fact.
This administration has
Laken Riley. That's gaslighting.
Go ahead. This administration has been drifting towards authoritarianism, similar to the disappearance of people who the regimes in Cuba and Nicaragua and Venezuela disagree with, because they're rounding people up and sending them to prisons in foreign countries with no due process. Okay. No proof that they've done anything. If they commit a crime,
April Fools!
If they are convicted of a crime, they should be deported. You two should be agreeing, and your party should be agreeing, that we should deport people when they go through a fair and lawful due process.
We should follow the law. We should follow the law. But
why are y'all looking at me like I'm a green Martian by saying people deserve due process?
And the problem here is that when those
say that people deserve due process. What I'm saying is you have people that are committing crimes.
When those detainees were sent to El Salvador, the administration acknowledged they were sent without any due process.
Correct.
They were most of them had never been accused of a crime or convicted of a crime. But yet they were rounded up and sent to a prison in El Salvador. And look, if you are a criminal and you are convicted, then you are an immigrant, you should be deported.
Right. Look,
period. Full stop.
They could continue to be the party that continues to protect foreign gang members and people that come to this country to commit crimes. Because what I'm telling you,
I literally,
But I don't think it's fair to say that they are protecting gang members.
They
I think they are.
Do you know what's happened in New York? You're from New York. You know what's going on.
In the context of this conversation here, the question that is being asked is, if you say that someone is in a gang, shouldn't you have to prove it?
Yes, and they know these individuals are in a gang, minus this one
But they have
individual.
not provided
None
any
of those
that
people.
evidence to the courts. They have not provided it publicly. That's the problem. Immigration laws, but this issue of deciding that someone is a part of a gang because they have a tattoo is happening right now, right?
I don't know that's actually happening right now. What I know is that President Trump, they have arrested people who are gang members, gang leaders. They have arrested people that are drug traffickers.
Right, but they're saying that some of these
murderers.
people are gang
I don't
members
know.
based
Did you
on
look
their-
at their file? I do not know
on
if
their
it was based on.
tattoos.
No, that's how they perhaps
They're shutting down
try to
immigration
identify
courts.
them based on tattoos. Now, whether they're deporting them or once they identify them, they're questioning them. You know what's made this a difficult process? The fact that you have sanctuary cities and states that arrest these people for crimes, and instead of turning them over to ICE so they could be deported, they release them back onto the streets.
The reason I'm saying this is because we know already that there are at least 2 cases that are publicly documented where the only evidence that they had of someone's affiliation with the gang was the tattoo, and then on top of that, in court, there's a document, a checklist that they have. And you can have a tattoo and you can have streetwear clothes that they identify as being affiliated with the gang, and that's enough for them to deport you. So that's been asked of this administration, and it hasn't been answered why that should be allowed.
If you're in this country,
these are people that Joe Biden let in through his policies.
They were rounded up.
And you're going to criticize the mistake of somebody who is deported?
Respectfully, that is the definition of gaslighting. Because what we're saying
it's
is all five of us on this set tonight can look you in the eye and say that if you committed any of those crimes, then you should be deported immediately. You should serve your sentence and go home immediately.
Yes, but they were let in.
But I'm
That's
gonna finish.
the bottom line. You're more concerned about the one guy that was deported
first of all,
than the millions of people that were let in illegally that went on to wreak havoc in cities like mine.
First of all, I would love an argument that I would love an argument that wasn't subject verb Joe Biden. That's first. Second,
I mean, he's the one who let him in. What do you want me to do?
Second,
language comes out, then you could be critical of what we decide to do.
What is really happening right now is that Donald Trump is cutting hundreds of billions of dollars out of HHS for biomedical research. He is cutting VA services. He's firing VA employees who are providing direct services to our nation's veterans. And their budget blueprint, according to economic experts, say that you cannot come up with $880 billion in cuts in the Energy and Commerce Committee without cutting into Medicaid.
Definitely waiting.
You know what else matters? What else matters? Turnout patterns. Democrats today are the party of the hyper-educated and the elites and the wealthy. They turn out more in small turnout elections. It's just a fact that Republicans are a working class party now. We need massive turnout to win. It flips political conventional wisdom on its head. But that's why
the turnout was high tonight.
We're gonna.
In Wisconsin. But I know what you're saying.
Wisconsin turnout is typically better than most places, right? But it still was a spring election. It's still not presidential level turnout.
And rejecting the extremism, the outrageous behavior of this administration and their effort to harm everyday Americans.
As you look at the Wisconsin result, this was something I did not expect to be discussing with you during this hour tonight. We expected this to be a closer race. We expected the call to come much later in the evening. We saw Elon Musk personally go out there. We saw him hand million-dollar checks to voters trying to literally buy the election right there in Wisconsin. What does it tell Republican members of the House of Representatives who are counting on Elon Musk to get them reelected?
time for them to walk away from this unelected, unpopular, unhinged, and un-American billionaire puppet master. Elon Musk was just rejected decisively by the voters of Wisconsin. He tried to spend his unlimited resources to buy a state Supreme Court seat in Wisconsin, and it failed spectacularly. The voters rejected Donald Trump, they rejected Elon Musk, and they rejected the rapidly deteriorating Republican brand. We have to continue as Democrats to make it clear to everyday Americans that...
Indeed, John, because we now have a major projection to make. CNN projects that the liberal judge from Dane County, Judge Susan Crawford, will win the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, keeping control of the court in the hands of liberal judges and defeating conservative Judge Brad Schimel, who had the backing of President Trump, Elon Musk, and Republicans. Crawford's win gives her supporters in the Democratic Party a significant victory after they worked to turn this contest into a referendum on both President Trump and Elon Musk, who had deep involvement in this race. Democrats obviously trying to harness voter anger about Musk's role in slashing the federal government and about the Trump administration.
Okay, guess what? It's time to talk about Donald Trump's big April the Fool's Part 2, April the 2nd. Welcome. Affectionately dubbed by the man himself as Liberation Day. That's right. This isn't your ordinary day after April Fool's joke. This is April Fool's Day 2 on financial steroids. And it's sponsored by your life savings and the global stock market. Anyway, what's on the agenda? Tariffs? And not just a few scattered duties here and there. We're talking, get this, a colossal tariff extravaganza that covers trillions and trillions of dollars worth of imports. Trump is throwing a tantrum. No, it's a tariff party, and every nation on the earth is invited, whether they like it or not. Imagine every country waking up on April the 2nd, today, find out they're on Trump's dance card. That's what's happened. You get a tariff, you get a tariff, everyone gets a tariff. Vomit in your mouth? Well, same kind of thing. Trump has framed this as Liberation Day, liberating Americans from all those bad trade deals and all their money they've got saved up. You know, those trade deals that past presidents supposedly bungled. It's all everyone else's fault. It's kind of like declaring independence from common sense. The White House lawn is set to become, after that Tesla launch, the stage for this grand declaration. Today we're going to see promise of economic revival and lots of America First banners flapping in the breeze. Tremendous. Meanwhile, economists are scrambling to figure out, well, just how much this party is going to cost. Although at Fox, they think it's a party, they think it's great. Suffer the pain. There's predictions of rising prices, juiced inflation, and a bit of global market turmoil just to keep things spiky or spicy. Broke, maybe. But wait, there's more. Trump assures us that this is going to bring back, wait for it, drum roll, bad drum roll, manufacturing jobs to the good old USA. Yes, because nothing says job creation like skyrocketing prices and international trade disputes and international trade wars. China, Canada, Europe. The aim to make imports so expensive that companies rush back to set up shop in the US. Somebody needs to explain, it works both ways. But anyway, I think it's like trying to fix a leaking faucet by turning off the water supply to the entire town. Good luck with that move. Anyway, as for the rest of the world, well, let's be honest, not exactly RSVPing with glee. Tariffs might be great for a laugh and, as I said, a punchline on Fox News, etc. Economic chaos theory. But for global trade, not so much. Countries around the world are already hinting at retaliation. The global economy is sitting there nervously, that's the truth. Kind of laughing at the party invites, hoping it's all just an elaborate prank. Unfortunately, it's real. Anyway, there you have it, folks. April the 2nd, you're not going to forget April the 2nd, 2025. Your calendars forever, it will be etched, etched, etched. Trump plans to turn international economics into, well, I'd say a reality TV show, but he's already doing The Apprentice Does the White House Part 2. More plot twists than the season finale of any financial show you can think of, and whether it ends with fireworks or fire sales, well, we'll just have to, I wouldn't say tune in and see, live it. It's right there in front of you. And if Trump or anyone in the Republican Party is listening, I hope you appreciate the jokes, because like all good comedy, the truth hurts, and some people are going to, so in the world, they're going to get screwed, broke, and things probably aren't going to go as the administration intended. We just hope that's not you, it's not you, it's nobody we know in our phone. Fingers crossed that somebody gets some liberation somewhere. Do I sound sarcastic?
Thank you for trusting me to serve you on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. This campaign has been an incredible, life-altering experience in so many ways. And I'm so grateful to have earned the trust and support of voters across this great state. And I'm here tonight because I've spent my life fighting to do what's right. That's why I got into this race, to protect the fundamental rights and freedoms of all Wisconsinites. Yes. Growing up in Chippewa Falls, I was blessed with a loving family. Yeah, Chippewa! Yeah! It was a great community where people watched out for each other. And my experiences growing up in small town Wisconsin shaped me into the person that I am today. Someone who values hard work, common sense, honesty, and who can tell right from wrong. Someone who watches out for people. But I've got to tell you, as a little girl, growing up in Chippewa Falls, I never could have imagined that I'd be taking on the richest man in the world. For justice in Wisconsin. And we won. I've spent my whole career fighting for Wisconsin as a prosecutor, a lawyer, a judge, and now a soon-to-be justice on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Standing up for our fundamental rights and freedoms, protecting Wisconsin families and communities. My promise to Wisconsin is clear. I will be a fair, impartial, and common sense justice on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. And I want to thank everyone across the state who helped to get us to this point. I'm here because of you. To every volunteer who made this happen, for every phone call, every door knocked, every text sent, every postcard written and mailed, it all paid off. Thank you so much. To all of my friends and colleagues, thank you for your unwavering support, friendship, and words of encouragement. To my campaign staff, led by the incredible Cassie Finelli. Thank you for all of your work to make this happen. All the late nights, all the long drives. I'm so grateful to all of you for all your work. Thank you. She's the best. They're all the best. To all of our partners and everyone who worked so tirelessly to get us to this point, thank you. and to my friends, Justices Ann Walsh Bradley, Justice Rebecca Dallett, Justice Jill Karofsky, and Justice Janet Protasewicz. Now, I am so humbled to have had all of your unwavering support and encouragement since day one in this race. And to Ann, although no one can truly fill your shoes, I am incredibly honored to succeed you on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. You leave an incredible legacy of service to our state, and you are the embodiment of fairness and integrity, and I'll try to make you proud. And to my family who stand with me here today. My husband, Sean. My kids, Brad and Maisie. My brothers, Eric and Philip, who are here somewhere. There they are. My nephew, Evan. And to my mom and dad and the rest of the family watching from home. Thank you for all of your love and support and for standing by me throughout this crazy journey. and to Petra and Phoebe, our furry friends. And to my mom, happy birthday. I know how glad you are to see the TV ads end. So today, Wisconsinites fended off an unprecedented attack on our democracy. That's right. Our fair elections and our Supreme Court. And Wisconsins stood up and said loudly that justice does not have a price. Our courts are not for sale. And you have entrusted me with great responsibilities, and I will carry them out with honesty, dedication, and integrity. I will work hard each and every day to uphold our Constitution and administer justice for the people of Wisconsin. I look forward to working with my colleagues on the Wisconsin Supreme Court to deliver fair and impartial decisions. And while we celebrate tonight, I want to share some words of the great Honorable Thurgood Marshall, which I find fit the unprecedented moment we are living in. Democracy just cannot flourish amid fear. Liberty cannot bloom amid hate. Justice cannot take root amid rage. America must get to work. In the chill climate in which we live, we must go against the prevailing wind. We must dissent from the indifference. We must dissent from the apathy. We must dissent from the fear the hatred, and the mistrust. We must dissent because America can do better, because America has no choice but to do better. Together, we will confront and overcome the challenges we face. As our state's motto says, everybody, forward! Thank you from the bottom of my heart, Wisconsin. I am forever grateful. Thank you. So today, Wisconsinites fended off an unprecedented attack on our democracy. That's right. Our fair elections and our Supreme Court. And Wisconsins stood up and said loudly that justice does not have a price. Our courts are not for sale.